Hørte I også det?
Ja, så er
Okay,
det simpelthen
skide godt.
recording in progress.
Ja, tænkte også det. Nå, okay. Jamen, kan folk stadig se min PowerPoint, når jeg gør sådan her?
Ja,
Alright. Jamen, så tænker jeg bare, at vi går i gang.
Løs.
Yes. As we were talking about previously, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to host the entire thing or if we're being introduced by somebody else. But in any case, I'd like to thank Circular Edge for this opportunity. And yeah, today we're going to go through a introductory webcast of IDI and its functionality. So what's on the agenda? Well, first we're going to be talking a bit about who we are, and then we're going to we'll go into why you should care, and of course how it works as well. So with that being said, I'd like to pass on the microphone to Jens.
Well, thank you, Niklas. I will use this opportunity to start introducing what is EDI. You might have heard EDI for like 40 years as a synonym for electronic data interchange, and that's entirely true. EDI has a long history, but it has evolved through the years. So today, the buzzwords are APIs. Formerly, it was web services, and back in the 80s and 90s, it was EDI. But it is basically the same, and EDI is not dead in any way. It's about moving data from one point to another. So you use API to make computers communicate. For instance, if you have a Oracle system and you'd like to communicate with a SAP system, those two computers are not built to communicate with each other. So you actually use EDI as a middleman to agree on a common format so that one computer can exchange information with the other. So EDI has been used in various years and used by various businesses, like in the healthcare, retail business, and basically anywhere where EDI gives benefits, saving time, and today time is money. And so maybe I should introduce myself so you know who you are talking to. As told, my name is Jens. I am a certified Oracle DBA. I've also been working with IBM machines, DB2, basically from the AS200 era and up to the IBM I. I've been programming and developing on Microsoft platforms, and I'm a Linux enthusiast. And so that brings me to the next point, that is, what is IDI? The company I work for is called IDI, which is short of Instant EDI. It was founded in Denmark 20 years ago. And the reason why the I in IDI is there is because it's a bit of a real-time EDI system that moves away from the traditional file-based exchanges into the world of real-time transactions. And so it was founded in Denmark, as told, and now we have also established a department in Chicago, Illinois, and we serve customers all around Europe, Scandinavia, and also in the States. We are a company based only upon EDI specialists who work with automation integration and EDI, nothing else. So we basically don't work with ERP systems in the inner circle of ERP systems, although we know a lot about ERP systems because we integrate ERP systems with each other. So you might have a platform based on Oracle NetSuite or JD Edwards or anything. It could be a SAP system or another system that you can use IDI to integrate with your business partners. That might be your customers or your suppliers that you want to have integrated. And so that brings me on to the next slide, and that is a little bit about how you might do your daily transactions today. Let's face it, manual encoding is dull, it's very boring, and it's time consuming. But that is how most people are treating their transactions today. Let's say you receive an order for a customer. You print out a PDF, put it on your table, and then you start encoding those order lines into your ERP system in order to handle the order. But well, it could be an invoice as well from a supplier. You might receive maybe even hundreds of thousands of invoices a year from your suppliers, and you have to take each one of them and encode the expense amount and the seller account and VAT and so on in order to get your bookkeeping working. You might also do manual freight bookings for your freight forwarder and or any other logistics partner you have. And you could also be in a situation where you have one or two web shops that you update manually because you are creating your basically your items, your product items in your main ERP system, and you would like to have those items replicated to your web system as well. And so all these processes are very manually today and very dull to operate with, very demanding and time consuming. And as we know, time is money, so it also costs a lot, and the company needs a lot of employees just to do manual encoding. And that is the issue that that EDI through automation solves. It moves you away from manual encoding into a more automized way of doing things. And the problem you might experience with taking this move in for the from the manual processes into the automatically processes is that EDI system can be complex. Maybe you need 2, 3 or more different systems to accomplish all your goals. And it kind of like gets the whole project to be very complex and very time consuming as well. But automation could be fun, as shown here on this slide. If you do it the right way and you have the right tools, automation could be very fun and very easy to implement. And so when you have implemented these manual processes in an automated way, you'll have the opportunity to optimize your resources, and you can also reduce human errors. Like, for instance, if you receive an order and the customer ordered 10 pieces of something, and by a mistake you entered 100 pieces, and then you get an angry customer because they don't need 100 pieces, they only ordered 10. When you take the order from the customer electronically in a structured format and reads into your machine, you'll make sure that this error cannot happen because it's a human error. By automation, you often use the data the customer produced and read it into your system. So you save the time, manual encoding the order, and you reduce human errors. And you also increase customer retention by integrating with your customers. When things start to work, customers tend to stay doing business with you because it's easy to doing business with you. And so in many cases, when you have integrated EDI with the customer, they will use you as a supplier, for instance, for many years to come. And so that brings me to the next point. How can we solve all this? The way we do it at IDI is using the IDI toolbox to solve these different kinds of issues that you might have when starting thinking EDI. What do I need? What can I use? Is it expensive? Is it hard to get started? Or all those questions you might have. It might also be a customer that just ask for EDI, and then you have to just adhere to what they say and try to provide them with the data format that they want. But the next customer will ask for the next EDI and a different kind of EDI, and then you also have to have a system for that. So the IDI toolbox is a bunch of products that solve all these issues in one integrated toolbox. And to name a few products in the toolbox, I could mention the IDI account managed IDI solution, which covers all the different kinds of formats. And you might hear in your daily operations people asking for AS2, FTP, whatever. You might hear people asking for X12 messages, other people asking for EDIFACT messages, and now the new kid on the block is JSON and APIs and so on. And so the IDI toolbox is kind of like a product that solves it all. It makes sure that you don't have to say no to anybody. And it does that by easing the process of going from your ERP system to communicate with the customers. Typically, a setup is provided by only producing a specific format between the ERP system and the EDI system. For instance, you have one format for orders, one format for invoices, one format for dispatch advices, and you only use that format for importing and exporting into your ERP. Then the IDI toolbox will make sure that your customers get the formats they want, either X12 for EDIFACT, JSON through an API, and communicate on the protocols that they demand. If one customer needs secure FTP, you can set up a secure FTP server or client for that customer. Another customer might demand you to use AS2 connections, and so you can do that as well. This can also be your suppliers, of course, if you want to send purchase orders to your suppliers and get back order confirmations, dispatch advice, and invoices, and automate in your own ERP system. This is totally accomplishable with the IDI toolbox. The way we work at IDI is often by partners. We work with ERP partners because in our opinion, the best of both worlds is the best combination of IT advising and daily operations. Like, for instance, we're good at EDI, but we're not good at ERP systems. But your IT partner is good at ERP systems, so they can import data into your ERP system. They can export data, and when that data hits the IDI platform, we have specialists that can help you integrate with your customers and suppliers, or even internal integrations. It could be your own web shop you want to have integrated, or it could be a sister company, intra-company traffic is also possible. So it doesn't have to be your partners only. It could be yourself sending data basically to yourself. So this is entirely possible with the IDI toolbox. And there's a few other products in this toolbox that are very important. And my colleague Fabian will explain a little bit about those.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jens. So welcome. I'd like to welcome you to take a step back as well. Now, since we've been talking about a lot of these EDI integrations and how they work, what we can offer, and what's really exciting about EDI. So as Jens usually tells us as well, it used to be 80% technical difficulties that are setting back the EDI integrations and 20% communications. This day and age, it has kind of switched. So we're now looking at the communications being 80% of the workload and the technical difficulties only being around 20%. So what we have in our toolbox is what we call the digital onboarding. And this is a tool that helps you essentially, well, outsource may not be the correct word, but it kind of helps you set the communication to a standard where, for example, your suppliers or customers are actually doing most of the work. So, and we'll be looking at an example as well later on, but what that means is that you have a platform where you can send all of these EDI invitations to, and kind of structure your invitations during waves, for example, that are set on X amount of time. So let's try to look at an example for this EDI onboarding. This is how it could look like. So this is an example for one of our clients who are looking to onboard a lot of their suppliers. And the goal is to have them all send EDI data to them, to their ERP system, as we also just discussed a little bit about. So what we offer on this portal solution, so to say, is an onboarding where you're able to, first of all, white label it, meaning that you can put in your own company information and details. It works with both customers and suppliers on both ends. In this specific scenario, we have one of our clients from the Netherlands called Wecamp. So one thing is company logos, another is the color scaling and the setup and everything. The customization doesn't end there, though. We are also able to offer unique and different ways of connecting to you. So in this example, we see essentially three options: a direct connection, a Vans network, and the IDI.online, which we'll also be going into later on. And under the direct option here, we offer, as Jens also briefly discussed, the AS2 connection, FTP, SFTP, and so on. So this means that there are no real limits. We can set it to whatever the needs are for your either customers or suppliers. Another thing that we also have on the onboarding are custom validations. And this saves you a lot of time and hassle, meaning that we can already get through the first contact issues, as we call them, when onboarding an EDI integration. So we will be in dialogue with you about, well, what's really necessary on EDI documents. Let's say, for example, that you want to receive invoices. Maybe the payment due date is very important for you or for your ERP system to have the whole flow working. Well, that will be an obvious validation that we're looking for. So all of these errors we can eliminate very briefly and shortly into the EDI integration. And this also saves a lot of time, as I discussed earlier with the invitations. So everything works more structured and is very goal-based and wave-based. Moving along, that leads me to the IDI.online. This is another portal, so this is a different product, so to say. And this is made as a solution for perhaps customers or suppliers that don't necessarily have an EDI system or an EDI partner per se. So this is a relatively cheap solution that offers you an online portal where you're able to log into. You can receive, for example, orders or other EDI documents and send the reverse documents back, meaning, let's say you receive orders, then you are able to send back order responses, dispatch advices, and invoices. You're also able to send SSCC codes, for example, on dispatch advices. So this gives you a whole palette of options that you can exchange EDI documents with. Barcode labels are also on the dispatch advices. We can do hybrid setups as well. Maybe you're wondering what a hybrid setup is, and that's essentially a hybrid between a direct EDI integration and we call it an IDI online integration, but a portal-based solution. So, for example, if you have a customer or supplier in this case who are able to send order responses and dispatch advices, but invoices isn't quite ready yet in their ERP or EDI system, well, you can then offer them to use the IDI online platform for invoices only, for example. So we're able to kind of custom sue these solutions for whatever is needed. And the last solution that we offer as well is the PDF solution, which we call PDF to EDI. And you may have heard about this before. Many offer this kind of solutions with OCR scanning. Well, this is different. It's not purely OCR scanned. The real difference between OCR scanning and our PDF to EDI solution is essentially that we are converting the text into EDI data, into a real EDI mapping, where we are able to also include rules, validations, and conversions. So what that means for you is that if you are not able to produce EDI documents, for example, or your ERP system is somewhat limited, you're able to print out these PDF files, send them over to us, and we'll convert them into EDI files. We're also able to, as I said, make adjustments or conversions or rules to these EDI files. So in a whole practical low state flow, that means you can send your PDF to an email on our end. It will automatically be converted to an EDI file and moved along in the process, so to say, converted to the right EDI file when it's reaching the either customer or supplier. And I think that covers those three products. So I'll head the metaphorical mic back to Niklas.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and on a side note, this is not our primary goal, but it goes without saying, digitalizing and automating your business does mean that you're also contributing to the environmental effects. We are in a time of climate crisis, if you will. So it is as essential as ever to be as green as possible in these times. So we did a little bit of math on our own business, and it turns out that studies show that you're saving up to actually 60. Oh, sorry, it's $6 US on a single sheet of paper, as opposed to having that paper in physical form, contra actually having it on a digital plane. So that means for a large-sized business, that accumulates up to, let's say you have 10,000 jobs for your bookkeeping process. That equates to roughly around 60,000 US dollars that you have saved. And an average pine tree is around 10,000 sheets of paper. So yeah, you can figure it out for yourself. Now, already now, as I've talked, you can see that we have a nice little forest down there in the bottom, and that's if we assume that 1 hour passes every second. You can see that it goes by pretty fast. That the more jobs you have, you're actually also contributing to the environment by saving trees that would have otherwise been chopped down to make physical papers for your bookkeeping. And yes, I think that is about it. So to summarize, you can save time and unnecessary expenditures by using IDI. And it's a lot like a Swiss Army knife, this toolbox that we've been covering for the past several minutes, in that whatever solution that fits you best is something that you find and that you can use yourself. So you're not really limited to something or locked in some corner with something special. You have a lot of options here, and you can use anything to your liking, anything that fits you personally. And it all goes to show that in the end, automation is actually pretty fun. So if any of this sounds promising, I'd advise you to contact your Circular Edge sales representative. And of course, if you need more info, you are more than allowed to consult info@idi.com. We will be happy to answer anything that you might wonder. And if you're actually sitting with a burning question right now, I think we do have time for some questions, so you can go ahead. Except you can't. Because you're not watching this. This is pre-recorded. So, yep. And we reached a total of 21 minutes. I'm gonna stop the recording now.